A very good morning to one and all present here. Me, myself, Cindy Wong, and we, the student of Community Education Center School, is going to do a presentation on how India struggled during independence. Before that, first of all, I would like to say on few topics that how British first came to India. The British first came to India on 1600 AD as an East India Company to trade with to trade since India was famous for their spices and wealth. The British landed on India's subcontinent at the port of Surat on August 24, 1608 AD. After coming to India, the British expanded their trading all over the India, and after seeing the wealth of India, the British they grew a bit greedy, so they decided to rule the India and capture it. So, and since India was ruled by the kings and queens, the British took advantage of it, and the British first started to rule over small kingdoms, and after that they grew to they started to rule a little big kingdoms. After that, they decided to rule over whole India and capture it. And successfully, they were able to capture India. During the First World War, the British were facing the lack of guns and ammo, so they started to set up various industry in India, and with the hope that India could be the largest industrial city in the world. And not only that, even the Indians were asked to pay high taxes, and they were like forced to go to the wars even if they don't want to go. And in the wars, there 13 millions of Indians they died. So by seeing that, the kings, queens, and the freedom fighters they were not readily agreed to accept that. So on 1857, it is also known as the revolt of 1857 to 1947. It was the time when Indians they first came together, they unite together to fight for the freedom. They they united together to fight for the to fight against the invisible British power. So from here onwards, I would like to give time to my friend Lee.
Hello everyone, my name is Pong Lee and I'm going to speak on the revolt of 1857. British called it a Sepoy Mutiny and the Indian termed it as the First War of Independence. The revolt was started by the Indian soldiers under the service of East India Company, but it soon spread all over the country. There, there were five main causes of the revolt. There is political, military, social and religious, economic and the immediate cause. I'm going to speak on the main cause, that is the immediate cause. The immediate cause was the introduction of new infield rifle. It was greased with cows and pigs fat, and the cartridges had to be beaten off before insertion. So both the Hindus and Muslim soldiers refused to use it, as the cow is sacred to the Hindus and the pig is detestable to the Muslims. They were forced to use it, and so Mangal Pandey, an Indian soldier, shot his officer dead, for which he was hanged to death. It made the Indians angry, and so millions of farmers, artisans, and soldiers revolted against the British for over a year and sacrificed their lives. Hindus and Muslims kept their religious differences aside and fought together to free themselves from foreign rule. Though it was not successful, but that was the first time when the whole Indian nation united together and fought for their freedom. Thank you.
Roll. Now I would like to further continue with the explanation, with the discussion. Now I'm going to discuss about the unison or formation of INA. INA stands for Indian National Congress. The birth of INA was on December of 1885. It was formed by A.O. Him, a retired a retired civil servant of India. The first session of the association was held um, in in Mumbai under the direct presidency of Vapshi Chandra Banerjee in 1885, which was attended by 72 delegates from all over India. The first 2 decades of INA are described in the history as those of the moderate demands and a section of confidence in British justice and generosity. The moderate leaders were Dadabhai Nehruji, Bad, 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 Badruddin Yaji, Gopal Krishna, Sujendranath Banerjee, and Anand Mohan Bose. Thank you.
My name is Marla and I'm here standing in front of you all to talk about Swadishi and Boycott movement of 1905 and My name is Marla and I'm here standing in front of you all to talk about Swadishi and Boycott movement of 1905 to 1907. This movement has its origin in the anti-partition movement of Bengal. The partition of Bengal created widespread dissatisfaction and discontent all over the world. And this indignation all over the country created a turbulent atmosphere and led to the Boycott and Swadishi movement. Swadishi means one's own country. Lal Bal Pal and Aurobindo Ghosh played an important role in Swadishi movement. INC took the Swadishi call first at the Banaras section 1905, presided over by J.K. Kothal. Through this movement, meetings were banned and singing of Vande Mataram, which was composed by Bankim Chandra, was prohibited. Students who participated in this movement were arrested and many leaders were arrested, and the British government led to the end of Swadishi movement in 1908.
Morning, one and all. As we get here to know more about the struggle of Indian before independence, I will speak on to. Before independence, India were under British, which means the Britishers were ruling under India, and in this phase they were like India were like servant of British. They will do whatever Britishers tell them to do. India will take it job, but in low salary. They got no respect. There were no good education. There were no proper goods, etc. At this stage, a new leader emerged on the Indian national scene, and everyone knows him. He was Mohammad Karamchand Gandhi, who had already made a name for himself in South Africa in his struggle against the British government of South Korea. He had chosen a novel method of mass agitation which he had which he called Satyagraha. He returned to India in 1915. He used the same weapon against British in India. Using the idea of Satyagraha, he led the campaign for independence from Britain. Thank you.
Good morning to all. My name is Shop. My topic is about Satyagraha. Satyagraha is a non-violent and non-cooperation movement against the government. A Satyagraha does not inflict pain on the adversary. He does not seek pain on the adversary. Satyagraha is a pure force truth is the adversary substances of the soul. This is why this force is called Satyagraha. He believed was just the cause you did not need physical force to fight injustice. A satyagraha could win any battle by using non-violence instead of using violence. Non-violence was Gandhiji's creed, which he believed India would unite all together. Satyagraha for him was a way of actively resisting of the oppressor. Thank you.
Good morning, one and all. Myself, Paul, and the topic which I'm going to speak is about the First World War. The First World War was fought in 1940 and ended in 11 November 1918. After that, the economic political situation in India, the British government declared India an ally without the consent of the Indians. The crop failure of 1918 to 1919 and 1920 led to acute food shortage accompanied by epidemic in failure. The British government declared India as an ally without the consent of the Indian. This created mass resentment among the Indians against the British rule. As the war had the following economic impact. Thank you.
And good morning to you all. Today I'm going to talk about the First World War, Khilafat. The First World War was the first point that led to creations of trouble for Indian national movement. The first trouble that faced by the Indian people was economic problem. There was economic loss for the Indian people. As we all know, the Indian was under the rules of Britishers. They had great suffer under the rules of Britishers, like they were finance the war by paying all the taxes, all the expenditure for the weapons and the foods for the Britishers. 1914 and 1918 was the made the people of India into great suffer, as there was sudden rise of price for the food and things for the Indian people, especially in rural areas. The people of India was forced to endure the war with the Britishers. In 1918 to 1921, among these 3 years, it was misery year for peoples. There was shortage of food and epidemics. It was reported that 13 millions of people was dead due to shortage of food and epidemics. This First World War gave a big shock to imperialism in India. It led to everyone that desire for the freedom, and even the new generations, they began to look for new ways to fight against Britishers.
My name is Hasani. Today I'm going to talk about No Cooperation Movement in 1920 to 1922. This movement was started to achieve the aim of Swaraj. I will highlight some point. Point 1, the boycott of forage and goods and the use of Swaraj. Point 2, boycott of government schools and college by students. Point 3, boycott of courts by lawyers. Point 4, no payment of taxi. Point 5, surrenders of government posts and things.
And start.
Hello everyone, my name is Umana, and today the topic which I am going to speak now is about the Khilafat movement 1920. Muslim was agitated by the treatment done by the British in the territory that followed the First World War. Ali brothers like Mon Ali and Shaukat Ali started this movement. It was mainly led by the Caliphate leaders and the Congress. The Caliphate leaders were told clearly by the British that they could not expect anything more. The Turkish Empire was totally dismembered by 1920. Gandhiji was specially invited to a Caliphate conference in November 1920. He suggested to the Caliphate leaders to launch a program for non-violence and non-cooperation. And Gandhiji saw this as an opportunity to bring Muslim and Hindus together under a united national movement. And finally, the non-cooperation movement began in January 1920. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lisa. Today I'm going to say on non-cooperation movement on 1922. Chari incident which led to a suspension of the non-cooperation movement. The Congress was session at Allahabad in December 1921 decided to launch a civil disobedience movement. Gandhiji was appointed its leader, but before it was launched, a mob of people at Chari near Gorakhpur, they were clashed with the police and burned 22 policemen. On 5th February 1922, Gandhiji was compelled to withdraw the non-cooperation movement on 12 February 1922. Second Mokla uprising Malabar Coast, Kerala. And lastly, Vishwa Bharat University was started by Rabindranath Tagore.
Hi everyone, my name is Sonia. My topic is about the Simon Commission 1927. Appointment of the Simon Commission. It was constituted by John Simon to review the political situation in India. Indian leaders opposed the commission. There were no Indians in it. They required Simon to go back. The government used brutal repression, and at Lahore, Lala Rajpat was severely beaten in lathi charge and later succumbed to death.
Good morning to you all. Good morning to you all. My name is Rahul, and today my topic is Civil Disobedience Movement. Civil disobedience movement was started by Gandhiji on March 12, 1930, with a famous Dandi March. Why Gandhiji started this movement? Because salt was sold by the British to the Indian at a high rate in order to reduce the cost of that salt. He had to move towards this march, and
Hi everyone, as we all know that during the Indian struggles for independence, there were many heroes born at a time for the freedom movement. Each hero has its own method and way of getting or attaining that one goal, that is independence for India. Some people believe in non-violence and some do not. And whereas one such hero was born, Subhash Chandra Bose, popularly known as Netaji. Netaji was influenced by Lok Maya Tilak and Sri Aurobindo. At the age of 33, he passed out the Indian civil service, but he resigned due to the national urge. And he joined the Indian National Congress, and he was elected twice as a president, but he did not, as he was extremist, he did not he did not accept the policies of Mahatma Gandhi and broke out and formed non-violent outbreaks and formed the
and formed non-violent violence and started being an extremist. He has faced many troubles and he has won to so many jailed. But at the times of when the First World War started, he was at the Kolkata resident being in prison, and he find that particular situation as an advantage to on seeing the British being on a tight positions. He found that it will be a very good opportunity to push them. So he dressed himself as a patent and escaped to Peshawar and moved to Kabul and Moscow, and finally he reached Germany and he interacted with Hitler and he told about the cause and to the Hitlers, and the Hitler was impressed with it. So he started in 1943. He went to Japan and formed the INA, Indian National Army, to fight against the Indian Army. So at 1945, we witnessed the INA waging a war at the northeast of our country, and for the first time we see that the national flags of India was driven at and hosted the national flags for the first time on March 14, 1944. Even though Bose did not succeed in his battle, it was certainly one of the greatest sons of the soil. He brought independence near, and he accomplished.
Hello everyone, my name is S. Elizabeth and today I'm going to talk about Quit India movement. A meeting of All India Congress Committee AICC was held at Bombay on August 8, 1942. It passed the famous Quit India resolution. It authorized Gandhiji to launch the Quit India movement. Against the British on non-violence line. Gandhiji raised the slogan "Do or Die" and declared that it was his final struggle for the freedom of the country. In his own words, I am not going to be satisfied with anything short of complete freedom. We shall do or die, or we shall either free India or attempt free India or die in the attempt. Thank you.
Good morning to you all. Today my topic is about, today my name is Kisima Lerina. Hello everyone, my name is Kisima Lerina. Today my topic is about independence. We got independence in 1947. After so much struggle in India, finally we got freedom from the British. The British Prime Minister Attlee declares that they would leave India in June 1948, and after this, Subhash Chandra became the first Prime Minister of India. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mamila, and today I'm going to talk about contribution of great leaders. So there were many acts and protesters in India made by the great leaders like Subhash Chandra Bose and Mahatma Gandhi, who had different ideologies and traits. But the one who succeeded was through the non-violent movement set up by Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, and he was also known as the father of the nation.
Hello everyone, my name is Tishla, and as my friend said about the contribution of the great leaders towards the struggle before the independence, even though some of the leaders did not succeed, but I really appreciated towards the great leaders who had fought independence in India on 15 August 1947, and also because of them we are now free, progressed, and most modernized in this present world, and also now we are able to compete with the other countries. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Yansala. As we have always been learning, because of many nationalist leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, Subhash Chandra Bose, Jawaharlal Nehru, etc., were able to succeed independence in 15 August 1947. We have always been talking and hearing about the struggles, the movement, protest, struggles about great leaders, on how it started, how it ended, and what were its result, consequences, circumstances, etc. Here I'm going to talk on how what happened next after the independence. So, firstly, when the Britishers left India after the independence, they left us with advantages and disadvantages when they went. Firstly, the advantages they left were Indians, after they got independence, became a democratic country, which resulted to be the most effective and fast-growing country. It gave railways, cricket, tea, and English languages to the Indians. Without British rule, there wouldn't be a political union in India. Improvement of government in native state was also constructed while they left. Secondly, they also left with many disadvantages, which were they exploited Indians, they destroyed there was destruction of local industries in India, famine drained the wealth of Indians. Thirdly, in the present situation, I'm going to talk about what is being led through the British rule in India. Indians now are having lots of struggle because of British rule in India before the independence. And not only that, it also has some advantages of it, like the most disadvantages of the struggle faced by the Indians in this present situation is the economic problem, because British looted Indians before the independence, and the most advantageous thing of when they left were they gave us education, English language, and also about the technology. In this present world, India is suffering with many disadvantages instead of advantages. India has economic problem, low status of economy. There is many unemployed youths in this present world. In India, less setup of industries, factories. Lastly, due to the corruption of government in some native states, India is suffering a lot because of economic status. And last but not least, India has many unsheltered people, like the beggars. And also it has much advantages, like India is now developing in the field of science and technology. India is also regarded as the fifth strongest defensive country in the world. There are many innovative inventions in India. Education institutions, medical universities are setting up in India rapidly, and also the government is helping the people of India in many situations. And also, a lot of plans for developing India are made, and some of it are taken in progress. Thank you.
Good morning to you all. My name is Job. My topic is about Satyagraha. Satyagraha was non-violent non-cooperation against the government. Satyagraha is not a physical force. Satyagraha does not inflict pain on the adversary. It does not seek pain on the adversary. Satyagraha is pure force with its very substances of the soul. This is why this verse is called Satyagraha. He believed was just cause then you did not need physical force to fight injustice. A Satyagraha could win any battle by being non-violence instead of using violence. Non-violence was Gandhiji's creed, which he believed would unite the whole of India. Satyagraha for him was a way of effectively resisting the oppressor. Thank you.
Good morning to you all. Today my topic is about no cooperation. Good morning to you all. Today my topic is about no cooperation movement. The country Iraq in the India freedom struggle started with the no cooperation in 1920 to 1922. The no cooperation movement was started to achieve the aim of Swaraj, and this movement was led by Mahatma Gandhi and Indian National Congress to overthrow the British rule in India. So I would like to highlight some important points of no cooperation movement. Point 1. Boycott of foreign goods and the use of Swadish. Point 2. Boycott of courts by lawyers. Point 3. No payment of taxes. Point 4. Boycott of government schools and college students. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Dimapur and today the topic which I'm going to speak now is about the Caliphate movement, 1920. Muslims were agitated by the treatment done with Turkey by the British in the territory that followed the First World War. Ali brothers, Mont Ali and Shaukat Ali started this movement. It was strongly led by the Khilafat leaders and the Congress. The British had promised during the war to India Muslims that a generous treatment would be given to Turkey after the war. This promise was not fulfilled by the British. The Muslims regarded the Caliph of Turkey as their spiritual head. They were angry when they found that he had no control over the holy places which it was his duty to protect. The Caliphate leaders were told clearly by the British that they could not expect anything more. The Turkish Empire was totally dismembered by 1920. Gandhiji was specially invited to a Caliphate conference in November 1919. There he suggested to the Caliphate Committee to launch a program of non-violence and non-cooperation. In June 1920, the Caliphate Committee adopted the suggestions of non-cooperation and asked Gandhiji to lead it. Gandhiji saw it as an opportunity to bring Muslim and Hindus together under a united national movement. Finally, the non-cooperation Caliphate movement began in January 1921. People responded to the call of Swaraj. The term Swaraj means different thing to different people. Thank you.
morning to you all. My topic is about Soros and the plantation. The British plantation worker believe Soros has a freedom of plantation different kind of garden. Point number 1, right to freedom of movement. By the Indian Immigration Act of 1859, the British did not allow the plantation worker to go back to their village without their permission. And if permission was given, it was very clearly. Point number 2, the non-cooperation movement made their leave the plantation in thousands. They thought they were free to go back to their village where they would be given land. But their dream was not successful because they were caught by the police and they were beaten up very badly. As we can see from the above, different people fight out for different religions, but there were one thing in common, that all the rebellion take the name of Gandhiji and discussed themselves as a follower of him and demanded Swatantra Bharat, a free Indian, which they believed that Soros would end their suffering and trouble. Thank you.
Good morning, one and all. My name is Lisa. Today I'm going to share a few points on non-cooperation movement in 1922. Chowri Chowra incident, which led to a suspension of the non-cooperation movement. The Congress session at Allahabad in December 1921, they decided to launch a civil disobedience program. Gandhiji was appointed its leader, but before it could be launched, a mob of people at Chowri Chowra near Gorakhpur, they clashed with the police and burned 22 policemen on 5th February. On 1922, Gandhiji was compelled to withdraw the non-cooperation movement on 4 February 1922 and came to an end. Second Mokla uprising Malabar was Kerala. Lastly, Vishwa Bharat University was started by Rabindranath Tagore. Thank you.
Good morning to you all. My name is Sonia and my topic is about the Simon Commission 1927, appointment of the Simon Commission. It was constituted by John Simon to review the political situation in India. Indian leaders opposed the commission. There were no Indians in it. They quite. Simon came back. The government used brutal repression, and at Lahore, Lata Lajpat was severely beaten in lathi charge and later succumbed. Thank you.
A very good morning to you all. Today my topic is Civil Disobedience Movement 1930 to 1931. Mahatma Gandhi found himself a powerful symbol that could unite the nation on 31 January 1930. He sent a letter to Lord Irving, the Viceroy, stating 11 demands. The demands were covering the liberation of all sections of Indians. The most important demand was to abolish the salt tax. The tax on the salt and the government over its production, the most exploitative of the British rule. The demands were an ultimate to the Viceroy. If they were not fulfilled by 11 March 1913, the letter stated the Congress would launch a civil disobedience movement. The Lord refused any sort of negotiation, so Gandhiji began the Dandi March. The civil disobedience began with Gandhiji breaking the law of salt. He started with a band of 78 followers from Sabarmati Ashram on foot. On March 13, 1930, March 13, 1934, Danti, a small village along the seashore of Gujarat. This historic march was taken by Gandhiji to defeat the salt tax. He asked the people to manufacture salt. He had started with only a few followers, but after thousands of men and women joined him as he marched forward. The distance from Ahmedabad to Danti was covered in 24 days. His Danti march arose the whole nation. He symbolically met himself at Danti on April 6, 1938. As his start of civil disobedience movement, people all over India broke out the salt law. They boycotted foreign goods, and the people no longer used foreign goods and started to establish their own company. Shops are made, public servants give up their jobs. The government adopted stern measures. Gandhiji and Nehru were arrested. People were charged. At the beginning of 1930, thousand persons were jailed and 67 newspapers had been banned. The Congress was declared illegal. But movement could not be crushed. In April and May 1930, 3 acts of defense shook the British government. Indian soldiers refused to fire at the demonstrators when ordered to do so. In Sholipur, martial law had been imposed to curb mass demonstration. In Chittagong, the revolution captured this armory, and Pechis battle took place between them and the government forces.
Hi everyone, my name is Ezekiel Ziliang and my topic is Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. As we all know that there were many heroes born at the times of the freedom movement. Each hero has its own method for attaining one goal, independing India. Some believe in non-violence, whereas some did not. One such hero was Subhash Chandra Bose, popularly known as Netaji. He was greatly influenced by Lokmanya Tilak and Sri Aurobindo. At his early age, he cleared ICS examinations, but he resigned as he did not want to work for British, and he joined the Indian National Congress Party and was elected twice as president, but he did not agree with Gandhiji's view. So he separated himself to form the forward bloc within the Congress Party. Being an extremist, he was imprisoned for his revolutionary activity. On various occasions, once he was kept under house arrest at his Kolkata residence. On January 17, 1942, he dressed himself as a peasant and he escaped to Peshawar and then moved into Afghanistan and Moscow, for where he reached Berlin in Germany and where he met Hitler. With his cause, Hitler promised to help him. He went to Japan on 1943 in Singapore and formed his own army, INA, Indian National Army. He inspired his army with his slogan Delhi Chalo and Jai Hind. On 1945, witnessed the INA waving a war into the northeast of our country. Even though he did not succeed in his battle, he had driven home the message. Soon the Britishers realized that the Indians were serious about gaining independence and would assume any means toward that end. On August 18, 1945, Bose died in a plane crash while flying from Bangkok to Tokyo. He did not live to see India independence, but his spirit still lived among his word Jai Hind. Through his actions, he has steered the whole India. He brought independence nearer, and so he was certainly one of the greatest sons of the soul. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Hello everyone. My name is Patya Rushami. Today I will be talking about the Round Table Conference. In 1930, the government decided to hold first Round Table Conference in London to look into the problems facing by Indians, but the Congress refused to attend it. So the government released Gandhi in January 1931. On March 5, 1931, an agreement was concluded between Gandhiji and then the Viceroy Lord Irwin. This pact is known as Gandhi-Irwin Pact, under which the movement was called off. The government promised to release all political prisoners and withdraw all pending cases against political workers. People living close to the sea were allowed to manufacture salt without being taxed. Gandhiji agreed to attend the second Round Table Conference in London at 1931. Gandhiji demanded complete independence for India at the conference. Mahatma Gandhi, Sardar Patel, the then President of Congress, and other leaders were arrested. The movement continued for 2 more years. About 120,000 persons were in prison. Thank you.
Hello, my name is S. Elizabeth, and today I'm going to talk about Quit India movement. A meeting of all Indian Congress Committee (AICC) was held at Bombay on August 8, 1942. It passed the famous Quit India resolution. It authorized Gandhiji to launch Quit India movement against the British on non-violent lines. Gandhiji raised the slogan "Do or Die" and declared that it will be his final struggle for the freedom of the country. In his own words, I am not going to satisfy with anything short of complete freedom. We shall do or die, or we shall either free India or die in the attempt. Thank you.
Hello, good morning everyone. My name is Momida. After India got independence in the year 1947, British Prime Minister Attlee declared that the British government would leave India by June 1948. India's independence bill was introduced in the House of Commons and passed by the British Parliament on July 18, 1947. Jawaharlal Nehru became the first Prime Minister of India. He unfolded the Indian tricolour on the Red Fort, marking the end of British colonial rule. Thank you.
Good morning everyone. My name is Nimada Kunger, and today I'm going to talk about contribution of great leaders. So there are many acts and protesters in India made by the great leaders like Subhash Chandra Bose and Mahatma Gandhi and all. And they had different ideologies and tricks, but the one who
but the one who succeeded was true from non-violent movement that was set up by Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, and he was also known as the father of the nation. Hello everyone, my name is Tishla, and as my friend said about the contribution of great leaders towards the struggle before the independence, even though some of the leaders did not succeed, but I really appreciated towards the great leaders who had brought independence in India on 15 August 1947. And also because of the great leaders, we are now free, progress, and more modernized in this present world. And also we are now able to compete with the other countries. Thank you.
Good morning, one and all. My name is Yansana Kips, and as our topic tells about the India's struggles and contributions of great leaders towards the freedom of India, there were many nationalist leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, Subhash Chandra Bose, Jawaharlal Nehru, etc., who brought about independence in India. But we have always been learning about them, their works, their struggles, protests, about the great leaders and how it started, how it ends, what were its causes, results, and contribution. Today now I'm going to talk about on what happened next after the independence of 15 August 1947. Firstly, it has many advantages and disadvantages after British left India after the independence of 1947. And it is also said that when there is a good things, there will automatically be a bad thing. So the advantages of the Britishers when they left were, firstly, India became a democratic country, which was considered to be the most effective and fast-growing country. It gave us railways, cricket, tea, and English languages. Without British rule, there wouldn't be a political union in India. Thirdly, improvement of government in native states were also set up after the British rule in India. And as Britishers had its advantages left behind when we got independence, there were also disadvantages. The disadvantages were like they exploit Indians, there were destruction of local industries in India, famine drained the wealth of India, which led to low economic status in India. Till now we are struggling because of it. But there are also some facts that we should know, that if Britishers were still present now, and if we didn't get independence, then our country might have progressed a lot like the other countries like US, UK, etc. But also about its good things, there is also a bad thing about it. If Britishers were ruling till now, then they might have considered us as before, like in low status. They might have gave us not equal, like they must have not given us the equal rights, equality, and we might have lost our identity, real identity. But thirdly, I'm going to talk about the present situation being facing by the Indian government, by the Indians. The good thing about it is that India is developing throughout the world in the field of science and technology. India is also regarded as the fifth strongest defensive country in the world. There are many innovative inventions made by the Indians presently, and also there is setup of education institutions and medical universities being made progress by the Indian government. But also India is also suffering from many disadvantages because of low status in economy, like unemployment of youths. Secondly, less set up industries, and also there are many unsheltered people like beggars in India, and also because of the rapidly growing of the population in India. And lastly, last but not least, the corruption done by the Indian government in some native states is also leading to the unprogressing Indians. But still then, India is trying to progress a lot, and also we can see a lot of plans by the government, set up by the government to develop India, and some of it are also made in progress and active. Thank you.